Okay, so I gotta do all things. I'm gonna do all the things. So I have to find my live. Okay, go live. My mic is working. Right, so I'm going to group, go, and share to my stories, share, and then I think that's it. Share threads. I don't know. Post. Let's see, what else can I share to? Oops. Okay, am I done? Comment. Where am I sharing? Messages, Instagram, and is that it? All right, I think I'm done. Okay, so what I'm going to do? Okay, Instagram, LinkedIn. This is all public. I'm live. I'm live. All right. This gets a little much. And I don't know how my internet's doing. Looks like I'm a little choppy. So we will see. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to talk about abacus. What is an abacus? It's that thing over there. This thing. This thing. Yep, this thing over here. So what we're going to do is we're going to read the abacus. To learn to read the abacus, we are going to just take a look at all my social media stuff. Okay, sorry. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to learn how to read the abacus. Okay, now why are we going to learn how to read the abacus? Because once we understand how to read the abacus, then we will be able to add, subtract, multiply, and divide. So that's what we're doing. Hello, Ethan. Hello. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we are going to count 1, 2, 3, 4. So all the bottom beads has a value of 4. Now, if you notice, I have a top bead. This is the top bead. This is the horizontal bar, and this is the horizontal bar. It tracks my numbers. It tracks my beads. So we have our horizontal bar. We have 5. So all the top beads has a value of 5, no matter what. That's the value of 5. So we have 5, we have 6, 7, 8, and then 9. After 9, we have 10. Just as how we write 10. Let's see. Where do I have my little piece of paper? Mm, let's see. I can't find it. Maybe I'll find it later. All right. So I have a piece of paper. Oh, here, not here. Is here? No, it's not here. Oh, maybe it's over here. Nope, not over there. Okay. I'm a little all over the place. Okay. So anyways, that's 10. So, didn't you know, didn't you, didn't you do live Insta and YouTube at the same time? Didn't know you do live and Insta at the same time. Ha 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 ha. I actually do Insta, Insta Live, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and other places. I'm trying to be everywhere because I want to try to promote the abacus because abacus is the greatest thing next to sliced bread. But the difference is I don't see your comment on my main app. So this is 10. How do I know? Because I'm using this as my marker. So this is my marker. This is my ones. So after my ones, I have my tens. So ones and tens. So I'm going to count by I'm going to count by tens now. So I do 10, 20, 30, 40, and then we have 50. And then after 50, we have 60. It looks very familiar with 60. But the difference is the place value of the abacus. So we have our ones and we have our tens. So this is a teacher's abacus. It's big because it needs to go to back of the room so the children can see when the beads are moving. And if you notice, the beads will stay. Whereas this is a student abacus, and if you notice, the student abacus gravity Gravity takes over. Whereas this one, none of the beads move. So I'm going to transition to a student abacus so it's easier to see. And it's not as heavy. So the first thing I'm going to do is that. All right. So here we go. Here we go. This is a very familiar. So you choose at any starting point on with the blue slider. Yes, exactly. My blue slider on my abacus, on the teacher abacus can be anywhere. Yes, that is absolutely correct. Okay, so here is my student abacus, and with my student abacus, um I have things. Oh, there it goes. So with my student abacus, it the difference is gravity gravity will take over, so it will move very easily. Abacus is easy to use, simple to use, easy to understand, but also realize that if you don't hold your abacus, then your answer will get lost. Now, the one thing about the abacus is I am going to start with my blue indicator. This is my blue indicator. I'm sorry, not my blue indicator. This is my dot indicator. With my dot indicator, this is where I label my ones place. So when we look, we have our numbers. We have our ones, tens, hundred, thousands, 10,000. When I match it up to this, let's see if I can match it up. There we go. When I match it up to this, here's my label. So when I use my columns, I have my ones, the tens, the hundreds, the thousands, and the 10,000. When I write it, I can write, right? If we have one, two, three, four, and then we have five. After five, we have six, seven, eight, nine, and then we have 10. Notice that this one looks very similar to this one. The only difference is the place value. So this is ones, this is tens. So right now I have 11. Then after 11, we have 12. And it just looks exactly the same. 12. It's a 1 and a 2. I saw someone use the abacus upside down on their product preview. Ah, that's funny. You know, on their product preview, I see that the abacus is like really huge. It's like it wasn't even to scale. Anyways, so now you know better. You know how to use the abacus. Okay, so then we have our ones, our tens, our hundreds, our thousands, our 10,000. This one right here is 12. So if I did this, this would be 312. So I'm going to write 312. Make sense? So just as we write our hundreds, tens, and ones, tens, hundreds, and then this is our thousands. So if I did this, it'd be 4,000, and I put my comma here. So notice that my dots are my separators. My separators will be the separators between our numbers. And then we have this one. If we did this, this would be 54,312. And then we have decimals. I'm going to switch to your YouTube live since the quality is better. Yeah, that's what I've noticed. That's what I noticed. So we'll see. I don't know. And I shut down everything as much as I could. So I'm not sure what the story is. Whew. Okay. So okay. Oh, then we have our decimals. So if you look at our decimals, we have our in between. The decimal sits between two place values. It doesn't sit on a place value. Does that make sense? So here is my ones and my tenths. So the decimal sits right between, right here. Yep, there we go. Okay. So we have our decimal. So then we have our tenths and our hundreds. All right. So, okay, then if I wanted to write it before 54,312 and 97. So it'd be 0.97. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. Wow, there's four people watching. I don't know if okay, anyways. So anybody have any comments? Let me know if you have any questions or comments in the chat, or just so I can keep up. And then if you have any questions, let me know. Um, okay, what are we doing? Okay, so the next one we're going to do is we're going to do some simple adding and subtracting, because after that we're going to go into some complex adding and subtracting. more intermediate really. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to understand how to add and subtract. Now, in one of these, in this, we learn how to add simply. So this is the book where we can talk about how the numbers are. So in the very beginning, we talk about what the numbers look like and how it relates to the beads. Here I have a picture of the abacus, and then I have the number, and then I have the actual abacus itself. So let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to just continue on. If you have any questions in the replay, just put it in the chat, just put it in the comments below, and I'll get back to it as soon as I can. So there was one that I did want to talk about, and after I talk about this and we talk about a little bit of how to add and subtract, I will be able to go to I'll be able to go to the comment. The comment was about the two-step equation. So the first thing we need to do is understand how to read the abacus and how it relates to the numbers. Here is a activity where we can have the numbers and then they can choose any path and then they have to find the abacus that suits it. Hello, blessed meet. One blessed help meet. Welcome. Let me know if you have any questions. So this one is about a 1-to-1. So they're going to count the dinosaur, and after they count the dinosaur, they have to write the number 1, and then they have to find the abacus. Here I have it where they would write it, but or if it's too much to write, then they can just circle it. And then I have lesson 2 is talking about numbers from 5 to 9, and then this is the reason why it's broken up this way is because the 5 we can start doing a counting on with the 5. So we have 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then we have 10. But we don't do 10 in this book. The reason why is because I didn't want to talk about place values. The book got really big. Got really big, so I stayed with the numbers from 1 to 9, 0 to 9. We have to start from 0 because the abacus starts at 0. So when we look at it, should they learn the bottom beats first? Yes. I love your books. Oh, thank you, Audrey. Yes. They should learn from the bottom first. That's a really good question, Ethan. Yes. So we're going to start from the bottom first. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then the second lesson would be from the top. 5. And then we can start counting on. Be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. That's a really good one. Thank you so much for asking. Um, Thank you, Audrey, for loving my books. Okay. So then, after lesson 2, we learn from 5 to 9. Then we start going into the activities. And again, the activities are just to be interactive to get them to understand how to read the beads and read the numbers and write it. If you have any questions, let me know. I have the counting of the count in color. So the here's why not the top beads at the same time? Why not learn the top beats at the same time? You could, but then the children, I was thinking that the children are young. So this book was specific to preschool. So I don't know if you know anybody younger, right? If they're like 3, 4, and 5, getting them to know that this is 9 will be a little much. So I have this one student that he turned 4, and it took him about a year to go through my book. And so we've been going through and making sure that he understands how to count on the abacus, if that makes sense. But counting on the abacus is not difficult. It's just counting in general might be difficult for every child. So it all depends on where they are at where they are with their counting. So after lesson 2, we start talking about the relationship of the numbers. We have um, we have how to count forward, how to count backwards, what comes in between, and what comes surrounding. So this one is what's surrounding. So here I have the number 2, and you'll see that if I have the number 2 and I want to add one more, that's the number after. So the number is 3. So I go back to 2, and if I go back, I take away the one number, then we'd have the number 1. So the idea was to understand and get them to be familiar with the relationship of the beads and the numbers themselves. And then I have greater than, less than, and then what we go into is we start going into adding and subtracting. So do they do 4 take away 1 first? Yes. Yes. So here, if you look, when we talk about adding and subtracting, we focus on the add-ins. These are fantastic questions, Ethan. Thank you so much. So what we do is we focus on the add-ins. What that means is if I have my one number, I need to understand what the second number is. So when we have it, we have our first one is adding plus one. When we want to add one, I want to show the children that we have five, right? We add the five. We know how to add the five. We know how to put five on the abacus. But then what I want to do is I want to add the one. So I'm adding the one. Because I'm adding the one, that's my add-in. That's the add-in that we need to focus on. We don't focus on the result. What we focus on is the add-in. So when we go through, just as Ethan mentioned, we do have a question. Oh no. With the first thing we do in Abacus is we add first. When we understand how to add, then we will subtract. So we have two. I have six. This is six, and I have two. I have two beads, and I'm going to add two beads, and that's the number eight. I'm thinking I should teach my nephew. He's 3 and 4. Oh, okay. So the first thing I would do is I would have him start talking about this. So get him to read the abacus first. So the first thing I would do is I'd just see if he knows how to count this. If he can say this and he says the number four, then you're done. Then you can go to five. And then that's the big thing, right? The big thing is my student had a problem with the five. So what I would do is I would say, okay, what number is that? And I would keep counting. One, two, three. So you'd show them this is three, and then you'd say, okay, what number is that? And you kind of like test them out a little bit, and then you do the same thing. You do what number is that, and then what number is this? That's what I would do. So I wouldn't teach him how to do subtraction yet. I would first make sure he understands how to read the abacus, and then you have him count. And then you have him count backwards. So if you have when you finish counting forward to nine, then you start having count backwards. So nine, eight, and then take away one, seven, six, five, and then four, and then three, two, and then one. Does that make sense, Ethan? So I would start with understanding how to read the beads first before you start going into adding and subtraction. So, so the first thing so then after we learn how to add, we're going to do subtraction. So that's why we will have the number two. So I have the two on the abacus. He hasn't started school yet. I want him to be best at math. Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's great. That is fantastic. Have him start with the abacus, but make him start looking at it, right? So have him just count on the abacus, one, two. And then here I have minus one. That's just my thought. So, but yeah, have him read the abacus first before you start him into doing multiplication. Before you start having him do adding and subtracting. Does that make sense? Yeah. And then you can write your own questions. You've seen me write questions. So these are all the questions you would do. Like I would start them now. You can start them now. I do have this one available on my website. Um, it's a downloadable, and you can just go through it. And if you have a printer, you can print out all the pages and just have them go through the activities. Okay, so, but yeah, I mean, when I started my kids, I started them before they started school, and they are much better at it now. I like the approach of learning the new numbers on the abacus and drawing the beads out on paper. Good morning. Good morning, Alyssa. I was just thinking about you. I was thinking about your question, and I wanted to like wrap this up, and then I was going to go through your question. Oh, sorry. Maybe next time we'll visit. Maybe the next time they visit, or we'll visit them. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. I'm sorry. So this was the question. I think I should teach my nephew. He's like 3 or 4. Yeah. So the 3 or 4, it would be this. Okay. Learning how to read the. Okay. So we got that, and then he hasn't started school yet. Yeah. So that's what I would do. Great. Yeah. I was trying to figure out like a better way of stepping through it, and so you know what? Let's go through it right now while we have the time. Okay. So I didn't want to spend too much time, but this is what we do with the adding and subtracting, and I keep forgetting to show my comments. So this is about subtracting. After we do the minus the 3, then we go into minus 5, or we're adding the 5. And again, it's the same concept. The concept is being able to add 5. So we have 3, and then we want to add the 5. We want to add the 5. My answer is 8. So this concept here is talking about the add-in. So we talk about the add-in. We don't focus on the result. And I think that's what the problem is about the problem is about school is that we focus on the result. Is that book all right for 5 and 6? It might be a little bit too young because I focus a lot about the relationship war. I do have another one. I do have another one. I do have another one that's coming through. I haven't published that quite yet. I'm still working on it, and it will be able to cover from ages 5 and 6. Um, you can get just this part here from TPT, Teachers Paid Teachers website, if that's what you're looking for. If you want to go straight into adding and subtracting, because that's where I would go after they do some bead recognition. So the first thing would be some bead recognition, and that would be lesson 1, lesson 2, and then on Teachers Pay Teachers, you can get just the pages you want. So on Teachers Pay Teachers, you can get like lesson 9. I'm still waiting for the adult book. I'm working on it actually. I started making this out. It's actually quite fantastic. Okay. Um so adding, subtracting on the abacus without formula helps the children familiarize who work with the abacus. Yes. Yes, exactly, Alyssa. Thank you so much. Yes. And so let's go into the question. So the first thing I want to do is I want to review what we're doing. I want to review how to add the I want to review the question. So the big question, the big question that we were talking about was 73 minus 29. That was the big question. But let's do something smaller first. Let's do a review. And I was trying to workshop this out. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to do 5 minus 1. We know what 5 minus 1 is. Just as we talk about in school, and this is my little new thing. So in school, we're teaching children how to utilize the top bead. So what does that mean? Yeah, but they should focus on the bottom bead if you want them to add. Yes, exactly. Focus on the bottom beads first. So here we're going to jump ahead a little bit and we're going to start utilizing our 5. We want to utilize our 5. We want to make sure that there's no freeloading numbers. I don't want any of my numbers freeloading. I want them to work for me. What's going to happen is we know in school that we're going to do 4 plus 1 is equal to 5. Well, now we're going to be subtracting, so it's got to be minus 4 minus 1 equals to minus 5. Does this make sense to everybody? The reason why is because we want to take away. And although abacus doesn't do negative, but when we think about it, we need to understand it. When we look at this, we want to isolate the variable. To isolate the variable, we want to subtract the 1. If you notice, it looks very similar to algebra if we do this. So what's going to happen is we got to take this 4 and we're going to move it to the other side. What? We need to make it to the other side. So what's going to happen is uh, I want to make my 4 to go to the other side. We need to make the 1 by itself. So what we're going to do is we're going to add the 4 to each side of the equation. So what's going to happen is we're going to add 4 to each side of the equation. That means we're going to zero this out. And then we have our minus the 1, and it equals to minus 5 plus 4. We understand this, right? So then this gets crossed out. This becomes 0, so then I'm going to rewrite the formula. If you notice, I'll do this. Minus 1 equals minus 5. Minus 5, it doesn't work, right? It's not balanced. If it's not balanced, what happens? Well, what we do is we need to add 4. Why is this critical? Because this is one of the formulas that we need to understand. To understand, we need to utilize this 5. So when we look at it, we have 5 minus 1. Because we have 5 minus 1, I want to minus the 5 plus the 4. That's my formula. I want to minus the 5 plus the 4. So do we understand that part? This is what we have. So let's take it one more, right? And we're just doing step by step. So let me change to another color. Let's do 50 minus 1 minus 10. This is the same concept. How is it the same? Well, we have our number, we have our 50, right? We have our 5 and our 0. I'm looking for my little um Can I get a copy of the page? This is cool. Yes, yes, you will get a copy of it. Um, I need to find my, oh, there it is. Okay, so yeah, I just made it. I actually just made this, and this would be for more parents as opposed to for the kids. You could have it for the kids that are older, that would make sense, but not for the younger kids. Like if they're 5, they don't care. They don't care about this. But this is for more. This would be part of, actually this is gonna be part of my adult work, my adult uh abacus book. Okay, so going back to here, we're doing 50. Remember when we do 50, is that erasable? No, it's not erasable. I just put it in a plastic sheet, that's all. Yeah, I just put it in a plastic sheet so I can demonstrate it, and then I can erase it and do it again. Okay, so here is, you know, maybe I get a laminator and start selling it. Maybe that I should do that. Yeah, you know what? I'll get a laminator and I'll start selling it on my website. So here's my numbers, right? I have my ones and my tens. We're at 50. What are we doing? We're doing this number. We're doing 50. So 5 and a 0. We hit 5 and a 0. Because this is 5 and a 0, we're going to take away the 10. Okay, we're going to take away the 10. But we only look at this number here. If you notice, this is 50. This is 50. What I only want to do 5. Does that make sense, Alyssa? So we focus on the one bead, the one column, and we need to take away the 10. We need to take away the 1. Notice I don't have the 2. I want to focus on the one column. So when I focus on the one column, I just go here. We know this. We know this, just like here. Minus the 5 plus the 4. So what do? We minus the 5 and we plus the 4. And then when I open it up, now it's 40. Does that make sense? So when we look at it, we understand that this is 40. We just did this in our head. So this is 40. Notice that they're very similar. All right, so the next question is 20. So we do 20 minus 9. So after that, can you put the number to the far right so they could focus on the two beads? I would, you could, yeah, you could do that. Yeah, because this would be your ones, right? If you had the colorful abacus, if your dot indicator is right here, you could do that. Yes, that is very much true. So if I had 20 and I want to take away the 1, right? I'm sorry, I want to take away 9. So this is 20, but I want to take away 9. Notice I don't have enough beads to minus the 9. So what can I do? Well, we know the formula, right? We know the formula to minus the 9. To minus the 9, what do? In school, remember, we do how to make a 9, how to make a 10. Minus 9 equals, minus 1 minus 9 equals minus 10. This is very familiar, right? This is the same concept, but now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to isolate the variable. We're going to isolate our 9. To isolate our 9, minus the 9 equals to 10. This is not balanced. Because this is not balanced, we're going to need to add the 1. So this is now my formula. Minus the 9 is plus the 10. I'm sorry, minus the 10 plus the 1. Minus the 10 plus the 1. Why is it all minus? Because we're subtracting. We need to find the subtraction. That's why it's minus. If we were adding, then it'd be 9 plus 1 equals to 10. But because we need to subtract, we need to be the opposite. We need to be the inverse. So the inverse is this way. Does that make sense? So that's the reason why it's minus. So now when we do, because we're looking for this, we're looking to isolate the variable, we want it minus 9. We want to say minus 9. So minus 9 is minus the 10 plus the 1. So what's going to happen is, good morning, Elliot. Good morning, Riley. Oh, hey, Bill. That's funny. That's funny. I was like, hey, I know an Elliot. All right. I'm sorry. I know a Riley. So what we're going to do is we're going to minus the 9. So when we minus the 9, We don't have enough beads. We know we have to minus the 10 plus the 1. So if I look it up, I need to minus the 10 plus the 1. When I have it, I'm going to minus the 10 here. So the reason why I made it vertical, is so we can line it up. So minus the 10 and then plus the 1. Does that make sense, Alyssa? Are we okay? Hello, soft boy. Welcome. Ah, Bill, how's it going? You found me. Just like Ethan. Ethan's found me too. Okay. Alyssa, does that make sense? So then my answer is 11. Good morning, Bridget. Hello, Ashard. Ashad. Okay, good. So now we're warmed up, right? We're kind of warmed up. Now what we can do is we can start going into this question. This is where we start talking about the two-step equation. So here we do 73. So we do 73, right? That's fine. Then we do minus 29, minus 20. We do have enough beads to take away 20? Yes, we have enough beads to take away 20. Now, what we need to do is we need to take away the 9. We're going to take away the 9. We know how to take away the 9. Remember, minus the 9, and I need to find a thing. Remember, minus the 9 is equal to minus the 10 plus the 1, right? So we want to minus the 10. Oh, that was the other thing. So the reason, here's the other reason why. I remember we were talking about it being live on 3 platforms. Ethan. Thank you. I appreciate the compliment. It's going to get better. It's going to get better. Alyssa, it's going to get better. I'm telling you. But it's going to be more complicated. Okay, so do you remember we were talking about how are we doing equals to plus the 1 minus the 10? So this is what we call commutative property, knowing how to switch it. So in Abacus follows mainstream math. We can do this way or we can do this way. This too, hi, Elisa, Alyssa. Okay, so, Alyssa. So remember, oh no, sorry. That's not what I want. I wanted this. 9 is equal to minus the 1 plus the 10. Okay. Do you remember we had this conversation? So the thing is, this is what, so in school, they call it commutative property. Property. It's the same thing when we show them, when we do this, right? We're teaching children 4 plus 1 is 5, and then 1 plus 4 is 5, right? But the difference is we're doing it in formula form. So this, the difference is we have to focus on the add-ins. So we can't do it this way. This doesn't work in Abacus, but this works in Abacus. I'm thinking about buying an Abacus, but I'm not really sure. That's okay. I cubitative. No, it's commutative. Such a big word. All right, now I know how to spell. So, yeah. So I remember we had this conversation, right, Alyssa? When we had it, and why do we do it this way? Because we want the kids to be flexible. It works in Abacus. It does not work. It doesn't work with this way. We have to put it in our formula. So putting in our formula, now I'm going a little bit on a tangent. If we put in our formula, same thing, 4 equals to plus the 5 minus 1, or plus 4 is equal to minus 1 plus the 5. I hope this makes sense. So I'm going to continue on with the question, right? So here, what I want to do, I'm back to here, 29, take away 20, take away 9, take away 9. I want to take away the 9 here, but notice I don't have enough beads to take away the 9. let me minus the 1 first. So I'm going to minus the 1 first, and now I need to add the 10. Remember how to add the 10? So this is 5. I don't have enough beads to add the 10. Minus the 10. Sorry, minus the 10. I don't have enough beads to take away the 10. This is spelled wrong. Because I don't have enough beads to take away the 10, yes, I am live on TikTok every day, but it's gonna get better. I figured out how to go live every day on YouTube and everywhere else. All right, so um, so what's gonna happen is I need to minus the 10. Minus the 10 is what? Minus the 10. We did it. We did it here, right? So what do? Minus the 4. I'm sorry, minus the 5 plus the 4. So then my answer is 42. Alyssa, did that make sense? That was a really roundabout, but there was a lot of like aha moments I had when I was making this, when I was doing this. And I wanted yeah, and I wanted to make sure that I had the right sequence. So I think I got the right sequence to show how this works. And this is the reason why we have commutative property. So that's why we have it both ways. We could do it this way or we could do it that way. Yes, but why do you minus the ones in the first place? Oh, so I don't forget. That's the reason why. The reason why I would do it, why do I wait? Why do you minus the ones? I don't minus. I supposed to add the one. I'm sorry, I was supposed to add the one. Sorry. So I had 3. I had 3. I was supposed to plus the one. I needed to plus the one. Sorry, my mistake. Plus the one. So I need to plus the one and then take away the 10. Sorry, that was my mistake. So it's supposed to be 44. Yeah. Don't you minus left to right? I can, but if it gets confusing, I want to make sure I take away I want to add the 1 first so I don't forget. I don't want to forget because sometimes the numbers get big. So when the numbers get big, I want to be able to do what I can. We can do another one. Okay. Does that make sense? Oh, yeah. I'm in a lot of places. Okay, right. So now I get it. Thank you. Please do another. Okay, let's do another one. I gotta think about it. Okay, but does a cumulative make sense? Oh, thank you so much, Ethan. Thank you so much. Okay, but does a cumulative make sense? Right? It's the same formula, but just flipped. I wrote mine incorrectly. Okay, so let's do this one. Um. Oh, here it is. We have 80 minus 34. This is a good one. So we have 88. We have 88. We have 88. I start over here. You could start here. Yeah, we could do that. Let's do that. We can start here. We go 88 because it's less to worry about, right? We take away 30. Yes and yes and no. What is a good definition of commutative property? The good definition of commutative property is depending on the order. Uh, let's see. I had it. Oh no, you know what? I had it. Hold please. Yeah, there we go. There we go. There we go. I put it in this one. So the commutative property of addition states that changing the order of the numbers being added does not change the sum. That's the difference. That's the definition that I was able to find. The commutative property of addition states that the changing of the order of the numbers being added does not change the sum. So the problem is so it's flipped. Yeah, so these two are flipped. So if you look, plus the 1 is plus 5 minus 4, or minus 4 plus 5. That's the difference. Now, the reason why we got to do this is because we cannot change the order of any addition. The reason why is because we worry about the add-in. The add-in is very specific. So when we look at the add-in, we can't just say 3 plus 2 and 2 plus 3, right? Because um so one person mentioned this. So one person mentioned this exact problem. One plus 2 plus 3, 3 plus 2. It doesn't work this way. In Abacus, it doesn't work this way because it's the add-in. When we have 3 and want to add the 2, I can't. I need to use the formula plus the 5 minus the 2. I'm sorry. If I want to add 2, I need to plus the 5 minus the 3. Or this one, if I add 2 and I plus the 3, I have a different formula. So it doesn't work this way. It only works on the formula. Does that make sense? The add-in is focused on the yes. The add-in to focus is the second add-in. Is that correct? That is correct. So you have to make sure this we're teaching this in school. This is what they call commutative property. But the problem is in Abacus, we need to utilize our formulas. So our second add-in is where so that's why in our formula, we can use commutative property. We just kind of finesse it a little bit. So this would be what we call commutative property. Why? Because it's still the same result, no matter how we have our formula. Does that make sense? So commutative property just means the formula can be switched. Yeah. 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 Okay, good. In Abacus, we got to finagle it a little bit because mainstream math, because the way mainstream math is, it's just, that's the way it is. So that's the difference. And so, yeah, and I was building this out and I was like, this is fantastic because I was doing this a lot. So then I was like, how do I make it into a chart? So yeah, you'll get that too. So the question is this 88. So we do 88, 88. After 88, we're going to take away 34. Notice I go from left to right. This is where I do take away 30, and now I want to take away 4. To take away the 4, right? Do I have enough beats to take away the 4? I don't have enough beats to take away the 4. So what do? All I got to do is minus the 5. I don't have it. Oh, and then I made an update to I also made an update to the flipping formula. Unless I sent out an email about the update. Let me see if I can show you the update. Oh, here it is. Is this it? That's not it. I need to show you the updated formula. So the reason why I updated it was because I made it vertical. And the idea was to show how to I don't have it. Where is it? Oh, it's gotta be here. Oh, here it is. Found it. I have a lot of props. So, I updated it. So I want to take. Oh, I didn't do this one. Take away the 4. Take away the 4. So I want to take away the 4. To take away the 4, I have to minus the 5. Minus the 5. Take away the 1. Is that right? Yeah. So here's what I want to do. I want to minus the 5. So if you line it up, right, I want to minus the 5 and then I want to add the 1. So that's why I did it vertical so you can line it up. In your little flippy thingy, I don't have a copy of it. Yeah, this is the other side. So I have, that's the answer, 54. I made it vertical so you can kind of line it up, minus the 5. Oh, sorry, minus the 5 and then plus the 1. So that's the update. It doesn't look like this. I can't find it right now. I have so I make I make all these little things. Here it is. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So if I was 88, so 8, take away 4. I need to take away the 4. What I'm going to do is I'm going to have my little flippy thingy, and it's going to remind me. And this is just in the beginning, right? Because once you understand it, it's going to go. So then it would be minus the 5 and then add the 1. I didn't put in a line here because I didn't want it to look like a fraction. So I love this update. Oh, yeah. Yeah. So that was the one thing because somebody was like, oh, and that's why you notice like when I built out the plus the tens, I did the same thing. The tens is also vertical as well. I didn't cut it out, but it's also vertical. I did it vertical so then you can line it up on the columns. I try to line it up between the columns. So it'd be minus the 9 or plus the 9 minus the 10. Plus the 9 minus the 10. See how they try to line up? So that's the thing. So let's do this one again, right? So let's do 88 minus 37. Yeah, let's try that one. Let's try this one instead. So this is 88. So we do 88, take away 30, right? Take away 3. Now I need to take away the 7. We know how to take away the 7. When we take away the 7, what do? We know we're going to minus the 7 is equal to minus the 10 plus the 3. No, I'm sorry. I can take away 7 right here. That's not right. That's not right. That's not a good one. Maybe 6, 8, take away 9. You know what? Do 9. We can do 9. So 88, take away 9. Yeah, it went trying to think about like questions to like ahead of time. I just wasn't prepared. I wasn't thinking about more. So we'll do this one. 88, take away minus 9. So take away 30 and then minus the 9. So again, when I look at it, we want to minus the 9. Cannot take away the 9. There's not enough beads to take away the 9. So what do? I know if I want to minus the 9, it's equal to minus the 10 plus the 1. So what's going to happen? I'm going to minus the 10 plus the 1. So let's plus the 1 because I don't want to forget. So I'm going to plus the 1 and I'm going to minus the 10. So here I want to minus the 10. I can't minus the 10. Do you remember what we did? How do we take away the 1, right? Minus the 10 is just meaning like we're taking away the 1. See how it just takes away the 1? So when we minus the 1, what do? Well, minus the 1 is equal to minus the 5 plus the 4. So that's what we do. Minus the 5 plus the 4. And so our answer is 49. So this is, again, so what we just did is we substituted this into here. This is why it's a two-step equation. So anybody else? Thank you guys for joining. Is there any other questions? Yeah. So we could do another. Oh, I'm sorry. The answer is 49. Yeah. Can you do it again? Same problem. Okay, let's do it again. Okay. Let me rewrite it. So here's my question, right? 88. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take away the 3. So when I take away the 3, I'm going to do that. Let me rewrite the question again. I'm going to rewrite the question and we will see how it breaks it down. So what's going to happen is when I bring it down, I've already, right? I've already taken away the 3. I'm sorry. There we go. I've already taken away the 3. So now I have 58 minus 9. So I do 58 minus 9. So now we have to take away the 9. We're taking away the 9 here. When we take away the 9, we don't have enough beads. That's what we're doing. We're trying to take away the 9. When we take away the 9, we don't have enough beads. We know how to subtract a 9. To subtract a 9, it's minus the 9 equals to minus the 10 plus the 1. So here I'm going to minus the 9 equals to minus 10 plus 1. Okay, I'm going to plus the 10, which means here. I'm going to plus the 10 minus the, minus the 10 plus the 1. Minus the 10 minus the 10 plus the 1. So when I add the 1, let me add the 1 first so I don't forget. So I'm going to rewrite this. It looks like this. Minus 9 equals plus 1 minus 10. We can do that. So that means I'm going to add the 1 first so I don't forget. I'm going to add the 1 first so I don't forget. And then I have to minus the 10. So I cannot minus the 10. What do I do? To minus the 10, looks like it's minus 1, right? I can minus the 4. So this turns into minus 5 plus 4. So all I got to do is minus the 5 and add the 4. So my answer is now 49. You know what? Let me rewrite this. So what we just did, we just minus the 9 equals plus 1. And then we did minus 5 plus 4. That's that's everything, right? That's as you bring it together. Yeah, not a problem. it's it's one thing to talk about it, right? It's another thing to understand it, and it's great that you want to understand it. And when I was learning, I had to see the individual steps too, but it took me a while. I mean, nobody told me how to do it this way. I had to do it on my own and be like, why am I doing it this way? Why am I doing this? And so I appreciate your comment or your question, because I was never taught this. I had to learn it on my own. And so if I can teach you what I learned, then now it makes sense, right? Now it makes sense. Why do we have to minus the 5? If in the beginning when I did it, I'm like, I don't understand why we're doing it. What's the point? The biggest thing is to understand, why are we doing it? Do we have enough beads to do it? That's the big question. The big question is how do we do it? How do we do it? If we don't have enough beads, how do we do it? That's the question, right? How do we do it? It's always about how we did it. And I figured out my problem. I was able to figure it out. So, but that's the thing. And yeah. I'm gonna keep Thursdays as my regular time. So Alyssa, if you want to schedule Thursdays, I have it scheduled. But I do plan going live more often. It's just gonna be erratic, just so you know. Because I figured out how to stream TikTok with this too now. Until it gets shut down. So, and it'll be a little bit more noisier. I think for the Thursdays I'll keep it just the YouTube, the Facebook, and the Instagram. But all the other times I'm going to start bringing in the TikTok stream, um, because there's a lot of people on TikTok that um that are enjoying it too. So, but I do appreciate everything and all the comments and the compliments. It really does help to really solidify my teaching. So I do appreciate everything that you guys are commenting on. Um, Riley, did you have any questions? And then Elise, and Ethan. Ethan. Ethan, you're like everywhere. You're like me. Yeah. So it was nice to be able to workshop this out. But yeah, I figured out how to do this. Thank you for taking the time to answer. Oh no, no, thank you for your question. I didn't want to I didn't want to I wanted to tell you, I wanted to record a video for you earlier, but I had to really workshop out like the different scenarios. So that's why it wasn't an immediate response, but I knew that I needed to continue to give you the better steps so I can condense it and make it more understanding. But thank you so much for the compliment. I do appreciate it. And yeah, anytime you have the question, it takes me a little bit to formulate what I'm trying to say to make it better. But this one, I'll let you know, this has really made my teaching a lot more concise. And it really helps to get the whole cumulative, where is it? Cumulative property and understanding how to do that, how to make more mainstream math into abacus. You gave me better. Yeah, right. I didn't even know that was a thing. There was another one called associative property, but we can't do that because it's only for addition. Anyways, but yeah, there's a lot of like terminologies that I never understood, and so now I'm just as I'm trying to unfold everything. But that's what it is. But I do like this cumulative property. We just have to be careful when we use it. Cum cum commutative. Haha, com. Haha. No way. The way you broke it down and showed the steps made me understand it better than before. Oh, great. Yeah, and that's the thing, like it takes me a little bit to marinate on like what we're trying to do. And again, it's all about building the basics and the foundation. And but it's taken me like to get to this point, it's really taken me quite some time to get to this point. But the fact that I can explain it to everybody, I'm really appreciative that you guys all understand. I really appreciate that you understand. Because if I don't communicate it, then there would be no point. But I know there's a lot of see the thing is I need to make sure that everybody has all the same understanding. That's why I go back to the basics. And when I go back to the basics, I'll have this one ready for you. It is going to be available on my it's going to be available in my store. I just haven't figured out like the logistics on this. But I do like this. But it's only, I guess it'd be good for parents when their parents are teaching the children. Yeah, I think it'd be good for the parents. So I guess what I'd try to do is make this more erasable. So then you can continue on. So as if you're me. So you can pretend you're me. That would be a good idea. What do you think? Having this make it more, but then I'd have to charge a little bit. Yeah, I'd have to charge to figure out how to make this, and how to make this erasable. Thank you, Ethan, for the what do you call it? The idea. Thank you, Ethan, for the idea to make it erasable. Um, then I just have to laminate it. Yeah, okay. I'm just trying to workshop. I'm trying to workshop a lot of the stuff that I have. But this, yeah, interesting. Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay. So it is 10 o'clock. I wanted to respect everybody's time, but yeah. So Alyssa, just so you know, I will be coming on a little bit more often, but it might be more noisy. But I will keep the Thursday one just for my students. And so whoever is on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, I'll keep the Thursday one specific for your questions. But when I start bringing in TikTok, I know it gets really noisy. So, um, so it's okay if you don't. It's okay if you don't want to chime in when there's the TikTok stream that comes through. But I think I'm going to do that a little. I'm going to do more live streaming. Um, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, Riley, because I think everybody needs to know how to. I think everybody needs to know how to abacus. Um, but if there's no other burning question, Alyssa, unless you want me to make up some more questions, what I could do is what I can try to build out. I can try to build out a few more questions that will deal with the two-step equations. But I think is it because it goes to the tens that's the problem, or is it because it's two-step? Because like 7 plus 7 is a two-step as well. 7 plus 7, that's a two-step. So does one blessed help meet? Oh, nobody's watching. Okay. Okay, sorry. Thank you. This was great. I have more. I will have more. Bring you both in two steps in the tens. Okay, so when okay, so if that's the case, then what I'll do is I'll try to prepare more questions on those specifically, and then we can talk about it. We can workshop it out. But I do plan on going a little bit more often. It just won't be on a regular schedule. I'm only going to keep this one as a regular schedule, and then the other one will just be kind of whenever. I agree. Reach as many people as you can. Ah, thank you, Riley. I do appreciate that. It was just one of those things like, should I, shouldn't I? Because TikTok, so just so you know, Alyssa, TikTok is very casual. And I do like it because because TikTok kind of pushes out my stuff. Whereas like Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, I don't get the same reach. So I will be coming on Thursday. Okay, good. Okay, this will be dedicated for my students. Thursdays will be dedicated for my students. And so I want to make sure that your questions are answered. So I will not bring in the TikTok stream on this one, just so you know. But yeah, I will keep the Thursdays for sure. But yeah, I will be on live every so often. I'm not going to be on a schedule, but the Thursdays one is a specific schedule. Okay, so I want to honor everybody's time. Thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for commenting and compliments and everything, and the questions and understanding how everything works. And I'm really excited to show that if you just know the basics, then we can start building it out. I don't think it's I hope it's not overkill. Yes, I'll see you next Thursday. Thank you again. Have a good day, everybody. Have a good day. Bye.